Right now we have about 3 billion internet users, but moving forward from 2 years, you also said that we'll be having about 4 billion. What is Google trying to do to make sure that this next billion comes on board? Now looking at connecting to the internet, and how does this launch fit into this 1 billion coming on board in the next year?
So to be clear, these people will get connected, through a network of carriers, operators. Google can play a small role in it, but this is a broad effort across. It's also an effort that the demand is driving connectivity. What we as Google feel particularly passionate about is that as these people start getting connected to the internet, they should have a really good experience, independent of what kind of device they're connecting from, what kind of network they're on, or where they're connecting from. Right? As I said, a farmer in Kansas should have the same quality of access and the same kind of apps and services that a high-tech entrepreneur in Lagos has, right? So it's really important to be able to have that uniformity of access to knowledge and apps and services.
Now let's look at the whole Android One, like you just made mention of. What is the scope? What is the commitment of Google now? Looking at the fact that the Android One has come, is it coming to stay? What are your long-term commitments to Nigeria and also to Africa in respect to this launch?
Android One is part of one of the initiatives that Google's doing across Nigeria and Africa. You may be well aware, we built up a large team in Lagos over the last year, and along with Android One, we're going to bring many more products and optimize them for Africa. We talked about a few today, this streamlined search experience, which speeds up your search results and also makes uses 1/10 the data. We talked about bringing YouTube offline in the next couple of months to Nigeria, as well as navigation, improving the offline capability of Maps navigation. I think over the course of the next few months, years, you'll see us doing a lot more for Africa. I think the reality is, look, all companies go where their users are. And the youth in Africa is what brings all companies here. We are keen that our services and our apps be used well by this important demographic. We're keen that we help them achieve the most that they want out of their lives. And we're deeply committed to doing that. If you think about any of the products that we worked on at Google, it's typically taken us, we've been committed to them for many, many, many years. Android, we started 10 years back, right? Google Chrome, we've been committed for many years. I myself have worked on a product called Google Chromebooks, which we've been doing for the last 5 years. So, we realize this is a long journey. This was a first step. We have a lot more to do, and you and our users will be judges of this, but we hope to be in the space and to be able to effectively serve our users here for many, many, many more years to come.
But in moving forward, of course, this is not the first place where you're launching the Google Android One. You've launched in other countries and other continents. What were your experiences? What were the challenges? And what are you doing, or what have you done to make sure that these challenges now, so to speak, are not experienced by Nigerian and even African users?
So, there are a number of challenges which are common across many places. The way you buy phones, the connectivity that you get, the user's expectation around what the internet can deliver to them. So we've taken learnings that we've learned from India, from Indonesia, from Turkey, and we made sure we've got them here. We're working with a partner that shares a lot of our values. They deeply care about building high quality devices, a few thoughtful devices rather than a huge number of, rather than a huge portfolio of devices that many hardware vendors often throw at the wall. So Infinix has this deep commitment towards building high quality devices that they offer good after sales service to. So that's an important part, finding the right partners. We're working with MTN, who put together a very compelling data plan for all Android One users. And that's, we're very excited with that. So I think a key part of this is forming the right partnerships. And then I think, you have to learn. Every market is different. You have to be in the market. Part of the reason why so many of us have traveled from around the world to come to Nigeria to see how users use phones here, to see how they buy phones. A bunch of us spent a couple of hours in Computer Village yesterday, learned a lot about how people think about phones, how they buy, the different models, the difference between slot and somebody else who's selling phones. And it's really important to be able to understand the nuances there and then be able to use those nuances to build better products.
So one key thing is the users of Android One would want to know what exactly is the difference between the Android and the Android One. What can you tell them? Can you give a very good explanation as to what the differences are?
I think some of the things that will be most apparent as soon as they take an Android One phone. Here's mine. When you open it up, you'll find it's running the latest version of Android on it. It's got an Android Lollipop. If you go to, again, most phones that are sold in Computer Village still are running KitKat or Jelly Bean, which are 2 or 3 years old. So that's the first thing they'll notice. The second thing they'll notice is that all the apps that are built into this, we showed Google Photos today. That comes built into this out of the box. It'll work seamlessly. The third thing they'll notice, which is the most important part of Android One, is that the phone gets better over time. When the next version of Android comes out, Android Marshmallow, it will get updated to these phones. So users won't have to, go buy new hardware to get the latest software. They'll just automatically get this on this phone. So I think these will differentiate Android One phones from general mass market phones that are available out there.
And then one key thing you made mention of is partnership. Like you said, it is a very pivotal and a very important part of this launch. Do you have any contingency plan? I'm not hoping that the partners you have at the moment will fail you at some point in time, but if in case that happens, what are your plans? Do you have any contingency to make sure everything works out perfectly?
Look, we hope and aim for the best, and this is like asking somebody who's just got married if they're thinking about the next wife. We choose to focus on our current partnership and make sure that these are very, very successful, and then jointly together we can help deliver great products and services to our users.
There you go. That was the Vice President of Google, Mr. Cesar Sengupta, telling us about the Android One that was launched in Lagos last week. We'll take a break, and when we return, we'll look at your videos and then close the program.
We begin this week's top 5 videos with the lamentations of former Chief of Defense Staff Alex Bade lamenting the state of the Nigerian security outfits.
Then we also had challenges of unserviceable equipment.
In 4th place is the update by Channels Television's reporter on the Bristol helicopter that crashed in the Oworonshoki end of the Lagos Lagoon. In 3rd place is musician Vic O speaking about his relationships with foreign and local artists.
Like Don Jazzy, yes, okay. Yes.
You've met with Don Jazzy?
Yes, yes,
okay.
yes, of course.
Coming in 2nd position is the interview which has put the Catholic Bishop of Sokoto Diocese, Father Matthew Kuka, on the lips of most Nigerians.
And please let us not lose sight of what has happened in this country. President Jonathan said it, and I'm sure Nigerians have heard it, that when we met with the Board of Trustees of the PDP, they also made it very, very clear that not everybody was in support of the singular decision that Jonathan took. And I think that as Nigerians, we must become sufficiently serious and realize that that singular act is what has kept us as a nation. With all the billions and all the trillions of billions in the world coming from outer space, we will have to have a nation first. So I think that even for that singular act alone, Nigerians must be appreciative of what President Jonathan did.
I don't know who he is.
And in 1st place is recently married Nollywood star Tonto Dike, saying it took the presentation of a picture for her to know who goes by the name Gideon Okeke.
The truth be told, I don't know who he is. I don't know who he is. They had to bring a picture of him to say this is the person. And yes, when I saw the picture, I recognized that he's been the one. And I do not know him, and I would refuse to bring myself to his level to speak about him.
And that's all we can take on the program this week. Thank you for watching. I am Victor Matthias, but keep the conversation going. Just tweet at me at Victor_MBIDI. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.